The movie begins in the Republic of Moldova, where the United States has joined the conflict known as the Transnistria War. During a brutal assault, an American soldier becomes separated from his squad. Although he's supposed to wait for backup, he decides to enter a nearby building alone while wearing a pair of experimental glasses that allow him to see different light spectrums. Inside the building, he discovers several bodies lying in the darkness, all appearing to have frozen to death. As he ventures deeper, he's shocked to encounter a transparent, human-shaped ghost. The strange entity is only visible through the special glasses. Before the soldier can report what he has seen, he returns to the military base, but the ghost passes straight through his body, killing him instantly. Meanwhile, back in the United States, Dr. Mark is working for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, where he's assembling the final components of his latest invention, a machine capable of breaking down matter using wave energy alone. After completing the device, Mark demonstrates it to high-ranking officials, who immediately order him to begin testing it on humans to evaluate its potential as a weapon. Mark strongly opposes using science to harm people, but his supervisor reminds him that they work for the government, and those are the orders. Soon afterward, the military instructs Mark to travel to Moldova to investigate a mysterious issue involving the glasses he invented. When he arrives at the U.S. military base in Chisinau, he's introduced to General Orland and CIA agent Fran. Orland shows Mark footage captured by the glasses moments before the soldier's death. Mark notices something unusual appearing on the screen just before the ghost materializes. Orland explains that their surveillance systems have detected the same anomaly several times over the past 3 weeks. At first, they assumed it was electronic interference, but after one of their best soldiers was killed, they realized something far more dangerous was happening. An autopsy revealed that the victim's internal organs had frozen solid while the skin was burned and badly deteriorated. Several more bodies have since been found with the exact same injuries, and even their Moldovan military allies have no explanation for what's happening. Later, they discover that local teenagers have been spray painting the words genocide and Arari near the crime scenes. According to local folklore, the Arari are the ghosts of fallen soldiers. The CIA believes the incidents may be caused by advanced cloaking technology, but that theory still doesn't explain the bizarre deaths. Mark refuses to jump to conclusions and insists on seeing the entities for himself. He reveals that he brought a much more powerful camera capable of detecting a broader range of the light spectrum. It's an upgraded version of the glasses that can see much deeper into wavelengths invisible to the human eye. Orland agrees to send Mark with a Delta Force team on a field mission to search for another squad that disappeared the previous day. Mark begins mounting the camera onto one of the military vehicles, prompting several soldiers to make fun of him because the equipment interferes with their weapons. Captain Cabrera, an old friend of Mark's, immediately puts the soldiers in their place, reminding them that Mark's team designed those military vehicles in the first place. Major Sessions, however, isn't happy about bringing a civilian along and makes Mark promise that his equipment will actually protect them this time. The team then gathers for their mission briefing. The missing squad vanished inside a 5-story apartment building located in territory controlled by the rebels. Everyone is instructed to be prepared for combat, and if they encounter the mysterious entities, they're authorized to eliminate them. However, their primary objective is to rescue any survivors and get out alive. Fran insists that the strange figures are nothing more than enemy soldiers using sophisticated electronic camouflage, and refuses to let Mark challenge her theory. She also insists on joining the mission herself. Mark's role is to remain inside the vehicle and monitor the live helmet camera feeds from the soldiers. The team reaches the building without incident. At first, the rooms are completely empty, but as they move farther inside, they begin finding the bodies of both soldiers and rebels who all died under the same horrifying conditions. Suddenly, Captain Cabrera detects movement on the motion sensors. The soldiers cautiously approach an overturned bathtub, and Sergeant Comstock pushes it aside, revealing a terrified survivor hiding underneath. Comstock explains that every member of his squad has been killed and tells them they'll find the bodies upstairs. Shaken and terrified, he swears that what he saw was something supernatural. The team immediately moves to the upper floor, where they finally come face to face with one of the ghostly figures. One of the soldiers opens fire, landing every shot perfectly, but the bullets pass harmlessly through the apparition. The ghost then walks straight through the soldier's body, killing him instantly. After that, the ghost leaves the room, and the rest of the team rushes after it, opening fire. However, their bullets have no effect, and the soldiers begin dying one after another. Mark tells them to fall back, but Fran refuses, insisting they still don't have enough information. Mark argues that they won't learn anything if everyone ends up dead. The soldiers switch to using hand grenades in an attempt to stop the ghosts, while Cabrera orders a retreat. They try evacuating the wounded by climbing out the windows with ropes, but the ghost follows them relentlessly, killing anyone it can reach. In the end, only a handful of soldiers make it back to the armored vehicle, with the ghost still pursuing them. Mark seizes the opportunity to use his advanced camera, which can detect a much wider range of the light spectrum, to capture as much data on the ghost as possible. He notices that the entity looks completely human, even having a fully recognizable human face, which leaves him deeply puzzled. Cabrera decides to confront the ghost himself, but his attack is just as useless, and he's killed instantly. His sacrifice, however, gives the remaining soldiers enough time to escape the building, climb into the vehicle, and drive away from the area. While they're on the road, Mark asks Comstock what he witnessed. Comstock explains that he hid beneath a bathtub for hours and saw the ghost with his own eyes. Before he can say anything else, the vehicle suddenly shakes and flips over after accidentally driving into a minefield. Comstock slams his head during the crash and dies instantly, and both drivers are killed as well. Mark's first priority is recovering his advanced camera. Afterward, the survivors flee to an abandoned factory, hoping to find shelter. They attempt to contact the base, but their radios barely function. As the team discusses everything that's happened, they finally accept that what they've encountered isn't advanced technology at all, it's something supernatural. Mark explains that the ghost looked completely human, and the way it stared at them proved it was intelligent and self-aware, although he still has no idea what it really is. All of the soldiers' special glasses were destroyed in the crash, so Mark uses his upgraded camera to scan the area outside the building. He discovers a group of ghosts trying to attack them, but they're unable to cross a circle of iron filings surrounding the factory. The barrier appears to keep the entities out, suggesting that someone deliberately placed it there. Moments later, they hear noises coming from another room. The soldiers shoot the door open and storm inside, only to discover two innocent siblings named Sari and Bogdan, who don't speak English. Fortunately, Fran speaks their language and learns that they'd been hiding there alone. The soldiers also find a powerful radio transmitter inside the factory. It can broadcast a signal that anyone within a 20-mile radius can hear, including enemy forces. Despite the risk, Major Sessions insists it's their only chance of survival, so the team attempts to contact the base. Through Fran's translation, Sari explains to Mark that her father built the iron barrier around the factory. She believes the ghosts are trapped souls caught between life and death, unable to find peace. Mark wants to speak with her father to learn more, so Sari leaves Bogdan with the soldiers and leads Mark and Fran to him. However, she hasn't told her brother the truth. Their father was killed while constructing the barrier, and Sari had to drag his body back inside. Bogdan still believes his father simply went out to find help. Mark examines the body and discovers a necklace containing a ceramic tile, along with a map pointing to a place called Mazrov, an area near the river. Sari doesn't know how her father discovered the ghost's weakness to iron, but she does know that the hauntings first began in Mazrov. A short time later, the team receives a message from the base confirming that helicopters and tanks will arrive at dawn to extract them from an open field about half a mile away. The group argues over whether that's a good idea since they'll have no cover in the open. Mark quickly comes up with another plan. The factory contains plenty of iron filings, so he suggests turning them into improvised explosives capable of actually harming the ghosts. He also modifies his advanced camera into a powerful spotlight that can reveal the ghosts in the streets. Then he sends the modification instructions back to the base so the rescue team can build similar searchlights and reach them safely. While everyone prepares, Sari finally tells Bogdan the truth about their father's death and gives him his father's necklace. Moments later, they hear movement outside and use the new spotlight to investigate. They discover that the ghosts have climbed onto a neighboring building and are crossing the power lines to bypass the iron barrier without touching it. The team immediately prepares to leave, and Sari leads them through a back exit. The ghosts continue pursuing them, but Mark shines the spotlight on them, making the creatures visible to everyone. The soldiers are finally able to fire iron-filled ammunition directly at the ghosts. The plan works. The bullets actually damage the ghosts, although the force of the impacts sometimes knocks the soldiers backward. They fire several more rounds to create a trail of iron filings that blocks the path and temporarily slows the ghosts while Sari guides the team toward the extraction zone. Along the way, the survivors hide inside an abandoned bus. Mark notices that the spotlight's battery is almost dead, meaning they won't be able to see another attack coming. Suddenly, they hear vehicles approaching and fear the worst, but it turns out to be the rescue tanks arriving with their own upgraded searchlights. When the rescuers switch on the lights, they reveal every ghost hiding inside the surrounding buildings and immediately open fire. The team is forced to abandon the bus and take cover from the falling debris, preventing them from sharing their discoveries with the rescue force in time. The newly arrived soldiers leave the safety of their tanks and charge the ghosts with conventional weapons, a decision that quickly gets most of them killed. The ghosts don't just slaughter the soldiers, they also attack the tanks and destroy the searchlights. However, they still can't pass through ceramic objects, and Mark finally notices this critical detail. After that, the team is forced to retreat, but they quickly realize that Bogdan is missing. The young boy has gone back to search for his father's necklace after accidentally dropping it. Sari rushes after him, but before she can reach him, a ghost passes straight through his body. Mark runs over and examines him, only to realize it's already too late. Fran hugs the devastated Sari as she breaks down in tears, while the ghosts begin gathering in the center of the area, seemingly restoring their strength. At that moment, the team believes everything is lost. Fortunately, the rescue helicopters arrive just in time. Mark notices that the powerful airflow from the helicopter rotors prevents the ghosts from moving forward. Thinking quickly, he smashes all of the iron grenades he has onto the ground, allowing the wind to scatter iron filings directly toward the ghosts. The filings force the ghosts to retreat, giving everyone the chance to escape. Once the helicopters take off, the survivors discover they aren't returning to the military base because it has already been overrun. Instead, they're flown to a refugee shelter. Looking out the helicopter windows, they see ghosts spreading throughout the city, throwing the entire area into chaos. When they arrive at the shelter, the guards immediately point their weapons at them. Fran quickly speaks their language, identifies the group, and convinces the guards to let them inside. The soldiers secure every corner of the shelter while Mark and Fran take Sari to see a doctor after she suffered a shoulder injury from flying shrapnel during the escape. To take her mind off the pain, Mark reveals that he recovered her father's necklace from Bogdan and returns it to her. He then asks more questions about her father and what he knew about the ghosts. Sari explains that her father had been building ceramic containment units at Mazrov Power Station, the very place where the ghosts seemed to originate. Just then, loud knocking echoes through the shelter. It's not the enemy, it's General Orland, who arrives with the few survivors from the attack on the military base, bringing as much equipment as they could salvage. Orland explains everything that happened during the assault. Only 19 people survived, and the evacuation happened so quickly that they never had the chance to contact headquarters for reinforcements. Their only option now is to fortify the shelter and wait. An argument breaks out among the soldiers. Some want to take immediate action, while others believe it's too dangerous. In the middle of the debate, Mark pieces together all the evidence and finally understands what the ghosts really are. Comstock survived because he hid beneath a ceramic bathtub. The ghosts also couldn't pass through the ceramic components on the tanks. Iron and even iron filings can seriously damage them, but ceramic completely blocks them. They can pass through walls with ease, yet ceramic remains an impenetrable barrier. Mark concludes that the ghosts exist in a Bose-Einstein condensate state, a unique state of matter first predicted by Satyendra Nath Bose and Albert Einstein. Creating such a state requires an enormous amount of energy, which explains why the ghosts originate from the Mazrov Power Station. He also realizes they must be a weapon created by the enemy, and if humans built them, they can also be dismantled. Mark remembers the device he completed before arriving in Moldova, a machine designed to destroy matter through plasma discharge. He believes it can eliminate the ghosts as well, so the team begins building several modified versions using the equipment recovered from the base, along with every electronic component they can find inside the shelter. The soldiers immediately begin gathering useful materials while Mark assembles as many weapons as possible. Among the recovered equipment is a robotic unit called Rottweiler, which they use to install a new searchlight. They also study a map of the city, and using information Orland gathered from local residents, they develop the safest route to the power station. After Orland delivers an inspiring speech, the team heads toward the power station. The Rottweiler robot illuminates the facility's platform while the first squad tests Mark's new weapons against several approaching ghosts. The weapons perform exceptionally well, and once the first wave is destroyed, the remaining squads leave the helicopters and secure every platform. The soldiers focus on holding back the endless stream of ghosts. One helicopter moves closer to deploy Mark, Fran, and 2 security guards inside the power station. As soon as they enter, they're attacked by ghosts, forcing the group to split up. The soldiers stay behind to hold the creatures off while Mark and Fran race through the facility searching for the laboratory, unsure how long the fighters outside can survive. They eventually reach a heavily reinforced security door. After Fran successfully hacks the locking system, they finally enter the main laboratory. Inside, they discover that every scientist is dead. Medical scans reveal that the researchers had been experimenting on humans at the molecular level before using specialized 3D printing technology to recreate them in a condensed form along a full production line. The horrifying discovery confirms that the ghosts were artificially manufactured as weapons. As they continue deeper into the laboratory, Mark and Fran find dozens of ghosts locked inside containment cells. Many of the cells have been shattered, suggesting that an accident allowed the ghosts to escape and that the scientists were unable to stop or control them. They discover a machine equipped with an emergency shutdown system, but the interface is filled with highly technical terminology, forcing Fran to spend time translating the instructions. Outside, the soldiers realize the newly emerging ghosts are capable of regenerating themselves, making the battle even more difficult as more soldiers begin to fall. Fran finally figures out the shutdown procedure. They must open every release valve before pulling the main support structure, which will disconnect the system's cables and destroy every ghost simultaneously. Mark climbs onto the machine while Fran fires at the ghosts escaping from their containment cells, trying to keep them away from him. Outside, a massive storm of ghostly energy forms, throwing the soldiers backward. As one soldier desperately struggles to hold his position, Mark finally pulls the cables and removes the main support. The machine unleashes a devastating shockwave that throws Mark from the platform and sends the soldiers outside flying backward. At the same time, every ghost begins fading away. Expressions of peace slowly appear across their transparent faces before they disappear forever. Fran rushes to check on Mark. While exploring the lower level, they hear strange noises coming from a hidden room. Inside, they're horrified to find living human brains and peripheral nervous systems preserved inside capsules. They realize the scientists weren't merely experimenting on people, they were using them to create and control the ghosts. The victims aren't truly dead, but they aren't really alive either. Mark realizes they're still suffering, so he decides to disconnect them from the machines and finally give them peace. Fran tries to stop him, arguing that he needs to think about the bigger picture. Mark quietly replies that the bigger picture is exactly why he has to do it. With the ghosts finally gone, the US military is able to send reinforcements, rescue the team, and establish a new base. A few days later, the soldiers receive orders to return to the power station because the government wants to recover the remaining equipment and reverse engineer the technology to uncover its secrets. In the end, Mark says goodbye to General Orland and Fran. Before he boards a plane back to the United States, Sari thanks him in English for everything he has done. And that's how the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Don't forget that your opinion matters, so leave your thoughts in the comments and be sure to subscribe to the channel.